We're back on my alts plot for the CBDC um, swimming pool build. We made a little progress early in the week. Yesterday we took a break because we were doing house tours. As you can see, I've got a new outfit on. I figured, well, if I'm going to be working on a swimming pool, I need to have some, kind of connection to it. So maybe by wearing some poolside threads, I will have a little bit of extra inspiration as far as what we should add. As far as poolside features go. We did add a lifeguard chair and some ways to kind of access the pool from the edge, and if you're already in the water, how to get out. So we added a couple of steps in the corners, and then of course we have our little pool boy carrot thing here scraping out some of the gunk. I got to thinking last night that I might want to do these little lounge chairs a little differently, or at least try some different ways of doing them. So while I went ahead and built one and then just copied it over, I think I'm going to try different styles just to give folks a little extra idea as to how they might want to approach it. You don't have to use the floors. So we're going to dismantle a couple of these, I think, and just make up different types of lounge chairs to kind of give you viewers some extra inspiration as far as what they might could use in place of the floors if they don't want to do that. The floors are easier, or I shouldn't say easier. It's just that's what I typically went for when I need some kind of a chair or table. The floors are usually my go-to item, but there really are some other materials you can take advantage of that will work just as well, and will give you a different feel depending on the theme that your pool is going for. Maybe you have a certain kind of look of the furniture and things that you have around it. You can get away with using different things. So let me do the reload UI just so I've got everything all smooth. And then let's just go through the fun of dismantling one here. I'm going to leave that one just for now. I'd like to get the angle the same, and it's easier if we leave it. But one good thing, especially if you're looking for not necessarily, it doesn't have to be poolside furniture, but maybe lawn furniture types of things. The decking makes a very good type of material. I mean, it looks really big. It looks nice, and it's a good color. And it just has that outdoor furniture look, like a little tiki kind of build. I don't know the names of the woods, but kind of get this spread up here. Not wanting to do. Where did it go? Cancel. I don't know what I did. I think I hit something else. Oh gosh. Yeah, I think I was hitting like direction and stuff instead of the angle. Silly me. Okay, then we want to just size it down. And one good thing about the decking, it does come in a kind of a rectangular bit, so you get away with having to use two pieces for the bottom part, which is really handy because especially if you're tight on decor count and you're looking to kind of conserve where you can, using this as an option is really good way to make sure you don't overdo it. Or it lessens the chance, I should say. So I'm trying to get it to kind of Gildy just got their PTR copy made, so they're all excited. I know for a time there was like almost like, it felt like over a day wait. It might be longer by now, but it can be pretty long. Oh, yeah, he's rushing off to go play on it. Anyway, I'm trying to get it kind of the same size. It's probably not going to match up exactly, but that's fine. Just kind of getting close. And again, I'm leaving the legs visible from the top so I can kind of better align it. There's probably other ways to do that, but this is the easiest for me. And then you just pop it up to it. There's a different style. Now for the back, we probably don't want to use the long decking part. I think there's a short one that we'll want to use. This deck. That's the long one. Let's see. Short. Let me back off here so we can place it. Let's see, what scale was that? 16. Now, it may end up not being as high backed as these, but, you know, it doesn't have to be. You just want to make sure it's kind of in the same scale as the other. And the bottom part. And then kind of sort of match it up with what's to kind of mirror what you got going if you're going to have multiple. But like me doing it different styles, because you know no one says you have to have them all matchy. For some builds it looks better when it is matchy. You know, if you're gonna carry through a particular materials and stuff, it does help pull a build together, but no one says it has to be that way. So we'll send that to crate, and there's a different kind of lounge chair. Essentially the same principle as the others, but you can tell it just has a different look to it. And of course, you used fewer pieces. You only had to use 2 pieces instead of the 3 for the backing part. In fact, I kind of like the look of this better. I think I'm going to just go ahead and change these up. Yeah, of course, Samson, come on over if you want. Feel free to dive into the waterless pool. You might hurt yourself though. So yeah, I think I will do that. I will just. I like matchy, so. But you've seen how this one was done, and now we'll change it up because I like the look of the other one. Now, if you want to use something else, let's see, you could use, if you want something really slick and metallic looking, the travel posters would probably work. The only problem with those is if you don't want, you know, on the bottom side, it won't really matter too much because the legs are pretty low and you'd have to really be angled just so to be able to see the picture if you have it turned upside down. If you're worried about though, you'd have to double it up, so you would be actually using more pieces to use those. than you would if you used any of this. There's also the hover part pieces. There's a lot of little flat, rectangular, and square shapes that you could probably, pardon me, use for this. Again, it really depends on the type of look you're going for. I like the little wood strip kind of look. That appeals to me pretty good. So let's see, deck. I'll grab 2 of the long ones and 2 of the short ones. Hope I got the right ones. Yeah. You could also just use chew pillows if you want something kind of rectangular and flat. You could use those. I've seen many people use that. Most often they're used like for massage tables or dentist chairs. I've seen that. But I have seen them as like sun tanning booths and bits like that. What we might could do is maybe fashion up some kind of a little padding using those for this. We'll see here shortly. Let's try Katya's add-on for this. Because it's really big. My bad, I forgot. Just kind of awkward. Back up. Probably should have waited to de-shift that. Now I need to drop it so I can see. I wonder if it de-shifts again if I... it does. Yay, that's pretty smart. Yeah, the de-shift is definitely one of my favorite. The other stuff I'm still kind of awkward with using, but definitely the de-shift is a very nice thing for the floors. And not all of the items, for whatever reason, not all of them do that offset kind of thing when they're copied in, but the floors and the walls and things definitely have that issue, and this is a lifesaver. I suspect that Carbine's probably working on rectifying a lot of that, but in the meantime, it's a must-have kind of add-on. I'm not one to really flood my games with a lot of add-ons. If I do, it's more like quality of life stuff, because I don't have to have the damage meters and things showing me where boss stuff is going on and all that. I mean, I probably should, because I'm not really great at a lot of that stuff, but I prefer not to, because it's just, I don't know, it feels cluttery. And then when they do an update and all the add-ons are out of date, then you whine because you feel like, well, I've totally relied on those add-ons to exist, and now that they're kind of wonky until they're updated, you're kind of lost. So I prefer to use as few as possible, but if I had to say if there was any must-haves, this is definitely one of them. It really does relieve some of the headache. Okay, so there's the new and improved lounge chairs. So let's see about putting some cushion on one of them. Just kind of let me look at pillow. I think that would be easier to call it up rather than looking at all the chewy stuff. Let's just drop a couple of these in here. Now they're pretty thick and they are awkwardly shaped, so it may not work exactly like you want, but you know, so one of those things you just kind of play around with, experiment, and forgive that it's, you know, not perfectly square. And now I've seen these pillows used for so many things. I've made my own types of curtains with them. I've used them for makeshift couches and chairs. I've seen them used as toilet covers, the lids. I've seen people use them as blood. They'll like sink it down just so, and it'll look like blood running out of something, or look like a pool of blood. I've done that a couple of times myself as well. Trying to think what else. There's just a lot of anything that you're needing red for would probably be handy for that. Trick is, because of the shape of it and everything, it's not going to lend itself well, especially to this kind of thing where you don't want it sinking through the back. You want it to kind of be laying on the surface of the this, get it right on there. On the surface of the chair, but not going through it. But you want it to be kind of like it's part of it, I guess. You know, some of those that have the little built-in cushion parts. Something like that. I'm at it from the side so I can kind of center it like I want. Like I said, it's not going to be exact. As you can see, there's different curves here, and it's a little more narrow on one end and wider on the other. So it's not going to be perfect. And I'm not going to add this to all of them. I'm just going to do it for the one. This is an example. Oh, for crying out loud. Try to hit one arrow and it changes to the other, and move this way. I like the wider ends meeting up. Now again, you don't want anything poking out funny. Hard to see with all the arrows. See how that one's kind of poking out? I don't know if it's the one I'm messing with. No. So it's the one that's already there. No. So let's tweak this a little bit. Something like that. it's really super thick, so it's probably not going to be the best example of putting in cushions. What I would probably do is, let's try it smaller. Take it down to the super, super small. And the problem with this is it's going to take a lot of pillows to do this, and it still may not look very right, but I'll try and show you what I'm talking about. Probably be like 4 across. And you might even want to just kind of change up the pattern by switching a couple of them around. And go right here so I can see. It's very time consuming and super detailed. Typically, I wouldn't really recommend doing this because it does use a lot of pieces, but if you have it to spend and you really don't mind it, then hey, go for those little details. You know, more power to you. Don't know if that comes in below or wish that would, when you cloned it, I wish the handlebars would. Can't tell if that's yeah, it looks like. Again, we're going to alternate the turn of the pillow there. And what you do is you just do that all the way across. You can make a floaty out of this for the actual pool as well. If you do have access to, like, say, the towels, that would probably be handy. Lay a couple of towels out. Trying to think what else you could use. A different, like the floors, you'd probably use those and just maybe make it a different design, just slightly smaller than the bit, and do it like that. I don't know what I did there. I think I just put it into the crate. I do that a lot. I misclick. I think I hit that instead. That just is valid. Maybe it's not liking where I'm standing so close to. That could be a factor too. Again, we're just kind of trying to simulate that there's some kind of a, I don't know what they call those, like a little cushion thingy or something, so you're not just laying flat on this wood thing. I'm sure there's a special name for it. I have no idea what it might be. Excuse me. Again, it's using a lot of pieces. If you're not really up for doing that, then find another type of thing that you might feel like you could use. Or leave it cushionless, you know. Maybe your guests end up with, you know, splinters in their rear or something. Or don't use the wood. You know, I opted to use the wood because I like the look of it better, but you don't have to use the wood. You can use something else like the floor pieces. Maybe use these instead, or the granite. It's got a nice little pattern on it. That will work as well. You could use, well, if you can kind of ignore how the legs might work, you could use maybe metal flat tables, feet to feet, and kind of have like a thick setup. I don't know if that's here. I can see it in my head, but you could just make some benches rather than lounge chairs. Just build some benches instead. You don't have to have lounge chairs. It's just something I usually picture with poolside kind of stuff. You could just use the regular pillows, you know, just have a couple sitting there so that it kind of represents people could put it up on the back and kind of rest their head. That. But I started this and I'm going to see it through, even though it's, you know, going to take forever. I got some time. It's kind of got a funny little pattern. You know, if you're looking for something different for like a seating top, you know, rather than just going with the usual. With us being able to size things down pretty small and just the opposite, size things up pretty large, you can get some interesting things going on. Doesn't look too bad from a distance, you know. Maybe if you get up close, you're like, ew, that doesn't look very good. But from a distance, I like the change where it goes from dark to light. It kind of gives it that, you know, quilty look. You know, that'd be a good quilt top for a bed. You know, if you've just got the mattress sitting there and you don't know what to put over it, instead of using like the sleeping bags and another build that I did before, you know, make your own quilt by using various pillows and things. That might work nicely. Again, I'm just eyeballing. I'm not like taking calculations or anything. Later, after it's all set out, I'll probably make little adjustments here and there if I see something that looks a little too gappy, or whatever. Like right here, this looks a little too gappy. But I'm not like checking, you know, coordinate and making it all matchy across the board. I'm just eyeballing it for now. It's quicker for me that way if I do it. But if you prefer to go with the coordinate way and getting everything really lined up precise, you know, and more power to you. There's no real wrong way to go about building. Do what's comfortable for you. If you're the one that's kind of like the slow and steady, and you have to go in it with a plan, and everything has to be just so, you know, if that's what you need, you know, that's the way you want to do it. Don't worry about how everybody else is doing. If you're like me, just kind of sloppy building, and you're happy with that, you know, that's good too. The main thing is have fun with it. If it starts feeling like a job and you're not enjoying yourself and you don't feel inspired to build, that's when it's time for a break. You know, just step away. It's still going to be here when you get back, so you know, it's no big thing. Everybody gets burnout, and builders are no different. I've seen a lot of builders that like go into like a building frenzy, and it's every time you turn around, they've like just scrapped their entire plot and they're doing it all again. Like every week they're changing it. I change mine quite a bit, you know, quite often, but not like that. To me, that would be a little too stressful. But a lot of them, that's what they thrive on, is just trying to be the first to do something in a different way. And that can be a lot of pressure. And I know a few that have done that, and then suddenly they're like, they'll come online and they're like, you know, I don't even want to look at housing. You know, they're just so sick of it. And you know, that's part of it. If you really overdo something, it's like, you know, you find a food that you really like, some kind of sweet or something, and you just kind of gorge on it, and you're like, I've had enough. I won't need another bite of that for a lifetime. You know, I prefer to kind of just go slow and steady, because there's always going to be new things to work on, new things to play around with, to try, and I don't want to feel like, you know, I can't mess with it because I'm sick of it or anything. I just want to. It doesn't mean that I don't get frustrated, or I think, ugh, I don't think that's going to work out. I've had a lot of ideas where I'll get started on it and I'll scrap it. Like when we had the CBDC with the aquatic animal kind of thing going on, and I had thought, oh, I'm gonna build myself, I think it was one of those lantern fishes with the little dangly thing in the front where it's lit up and it like lures all the little baby fish, and then they swallow it up and they're big. I tried building one of those, and that ended real fast because it was awful. But I just thankfully, knock on wood, haven't yet got to the point where I just want to avoid housing at all costs for a period of time. I haven't gotten to that point yet. I'm not saying that I never will. There's probably a chance that, you know, that will come, but I don't see that anytime soon. Okay, there's like the bottom kind of fishy thing. I'm going to go ahead and add another bit up here just to kind of, it looks funny without that part, so let's copy, clone, and the only thing about this part is we're going to have to get that angle sorted. It'll be fun. Ugh. Button. Happens when you don't hit the right arrow. See, I'm doing it again. That. Oh, it's just jumping all over the place. Okay, I'm going to take a look and see if it's like sticking out there. Kind of hard to see in the dark. Even with these lamps here, kind of got them not so that they're blinding bright, but still pretty dark. Now, instead of copying each one and then having to adjust the angle, I'm just going to use the one and we'll twirl it around as necessary. Looks a little off. It's a little more narrow here and wider here, but that's all right. We can live with it. We'll copy, clone. Let's see, what is this gonna do? Probably gonna make it all kinds of wonky. Yeah. Cancel that. Place that for now, and then object. A little better. Okay, still nothing sticking out. No, nothing's weird. So okay, we'll continue on. A little bit. There we go. Could be maybe I got the angle slightly off and that's what's making it kind of angling off this way. Probably just me being not accurate. That's, you know, one downfall of not having super accurate skills, but oh well. Let's see. Another one. Making sure I'm trying to hit the right arrows. I get myself confused about which one I'm supposed to copy. And let's see that one. It does look off, but oh well. We'll go with it. And then it's just a matter of copying up a couple more lines and then we'll be done with it. Copy, clone, copy, clone. Again, building can be a little repetitive, especially when you're doing something like this that has a lot of pieces to it and it's kind of like mirroring everything. It can get, you start feeling like a zombie. You kind of copy paste. But usually, not always, but usually the end product, you end up pretty happy with how it looks. It's just getting to that point of having it finished that can take a while. As I've said many times, housing is a lot of experimenting, and not every experiment is a success. And that's part of it. You learn what works, what doesn't work, and then you carry on that information and everything onto the next bits. And that's how you improve. I know I come across a lot of builders that either they lack confidence or they're kind of intimidated by the housing, and I tell them, it's like anything else. You practice with it. That's how you learn. It's not like some of the builders that have made some of these fantastic builds. It's not like they were like architecture experts or anything. There may be a few that are. Whoops. I see my cushion's like off. So now I think I will cheat, and just what I'll do is I'll tweak this a bit. See, that works. Nobody will know the difference. I mean, you'll know, and I'll know, but other people will know. So we're good. Anyway, these builders that are, impressed everyone, they had to do, test it, experiment with it, and practice with it, just like the rest of us. Some maybe they learn a little faster, and they get the hang of it, because there is a bit of a learning curve, even getting used to the controls, like the advanced mode and how it all, what does what. I don't know if Carbon has plans of kind of, how they've reworked, or maybe not everybody knows, but they've reworked how the introduction to the game is set up, especially for players that have never played an MMO before, and for those that have never played WildStar before, getting them familiar with some of the basic controls and stuff on how to move their character, how the interrupts work, things like that. And I think some kind of approach to that with the building would be very helpful as well. Because if I remember right, when we first get our house, we're essentially just said, hey, here's a bag of furniture, have at it. There's no little tutorial that I recall. Of course, I don't go through the leveling process, alt making quite a bit, so maybe it's changed, but from what I remember, there wasn't any kind of little step-by-step showing you how to place something, how to turn it. I just kind of picked that up on my own through experimentation, just fiddling with the controls and stuff, trying to figure out, what does this do to it, that kind of thing. Because I don't really feel like just the tool thing itself, for some it may be kind of intuitive, but for others that have never worked with these kind of three-dimensional, XYZ kind of thing, it can be pretty confusing. And if they haven't already done it, I hope that they look into incorporating some extra kind of tutorial walkthrough kind of thing to kind of get you through the first steps of it, so that it maybe lessens the fright or the nervousness of people that are just coming into it and wondering, okay, how do I do that? And if you're wondering why, it's just to do with the way I've got my graphics set up. To kind of alleviate how much is being rendered. So at a certain distance, certain details are kind of washed out. That's why it appears that there's no pillows there, but as you get closer, they're like, it's like magic. So there, that one has some kind of little, I don't know what you call it. It's like a chaise. Is that what it is? I don't know, chaise, something like that. Some kind of cushion for your little lounge chair there. Starting to do that little laggy thing, so let me do another reload UI just to sort that out. Now, Mr. Poolboy here, I think we're going to move him to this side here because I have plans for this little area. I'm thinking of installing a poolside bar. I know drinking and swimming is probably not too best of match kind of thing, but a lot of people will probably look into adding it. I do apologize if it's kind of noisy. I left the window open because it's already getting kind of warm today, so I wanted to keep it airy in here. Let's link it to Mr. Carrot here. Hopefully everything moves. I suspect not, because it's probably going to resize up on moving. Because usually the way it works is if you have anything sized below the 0.20, then when you go to move it as a linked group, it'll bump it all up. But it should keep everything in the right position, so I just have to go around and resize everything back down, and it should, fingers crossed, look like it's supposed to. So what I'll do is I'm going to link everything up, and then I'm going to check the sizes of, like, size of the arms, which is at 0.10. Just going to note that down. And then the net itself is 0.15. And then the grass is 0.10 as well. So you'll see what I'm talking about here very shortly. Get out of the way here, because imagine it's gonna just blow up funny. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move him to right about here, I think. So I don't know if that's gonna affect it or right this way. Yeah, see how some of it kind of went whoop, sized up. I think he'll be okay there. So now in theory, I should be able to just resize this stuff back down to the way I had it, and it should be in the right position. Fingers crossed. So if you ever do this linking thing and you have sized things down like this and it suddenly looks totally awful, don't panic. Just kind of take a breath and relax and just kind of go at it one item at a time. Of course, I have the advantage that I kind of already expected it to happen, so it didn't freak me out. The first time it happened to me, it freaked me out. So, you know, it happens. Get freaked out by some of the stuff. But what happened to mine was I had like a whole countertop built up. And when I went to move it, half of it disappeared and reappeared on the opposite side of the plot. And then the other bits were all like sized and everything, and I just went ah. Thankfully, you know, if you see that in the middle of placing, you know, before you place it, you can cancel it and usually it will put it all back where it was. Not always. I've had it happen where it will put some of it back, but not all of it, and you kind of have to go through the process of rebuilding. So for a long time, I was kind of leery of doing linking. I usually keep it to small amounts. The smaller, the better, because if something does go wrong, then it's less you have to rebuild. So like if, say, I wanted to move this entire pool, I would probably do it in sections. I would link certain bits up and then move that, and then I'd link up the next little section and move that, rather than trying to move it all together, because you have that risk of it not working out right, and you just want to save yourself a lot of heartache if you have to do some building. This way you don't have to do everything all over again. Okay, so for here, see, what do we want to do? I think we're going to put in a little poolside bar here. I don't know if you've seen those bars where they have like actual seats and stuff in the water, so that the person that's ordering can just kind of order their drink or whatever from the bar, but never have to leave the pool. That's kind of the concept I'm going for. I don't know if it's actually going to work well or not, but we'll see. So how do I want to approach this? I don't know. Well, we've got those exile floors. Let's see, I know there's the tiki roofs, which would probably lend itself really nicely to a poolside theme. The problem with those is if you only want like the one half of the roof, then you got the other half of the roof that you got to hide in some form or fashion. I can't really sink it into this wall, because then it would be like interrupting my bingo hall there. Plus you have the two rods on either end, and that dangly sign that may or may not, pose a problem, especially if you're sizing the roof up. Then you got this huge sign that you gotta, don't want to hit your customers in the head with. So we're just gonna go with the exile floors, since I've got extras of those. I replaced them with the other. Just get a couple of them here. Wow, that's off, isn't it? And what we're going to do is going to kind of line them up here. First, and then let's see, how do I want to do this? I think I'm going to something like that. I'm not only looking like, mostly checking to see if it would like cause problems with collision. Sometimes when you have things kind of, yeah, that looks alright. People can still walk out underneath that little bit. Okay, I need Katya's add-on for that D shift, that wonderful D shift. Just kind of lining up the line of the seam here with this seam. I know it's not exactly matchy-matchy with this. This feels a little off, but I'm mostly kind of worried about it blending well with the pool itself. I don't know, the way I've built it, there's need for that mirror look. So you want everything kind of squared. Unless I purposely, put it to the side, but I like it more in the center, so. Okay, then, let's see. What kind of pillars do we have? We'll just use the Orem ones, handy. You could use other ones, it's just, saving on a little bit of money. We'll probably need 4. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this one squared away first. And I'm going to see where I would want it here. And then I'll back it up. Let's just put it here. Now the only thing about having a slanted roof with a flat thing here is either you're going to have some of it sticking out or it's going to be kind of gappy here. You can live with the gappy, just leave it, just more or less trying to be like some kind of support kind of thing. If you really want to get fancy, you could add in triangle pieces to kind of make it look solid, but I'm not going to get it. Then we're going to drop this down a bit. I'm going to rotate this and probably shrink it down to about because I don't want it, again, I don't want it encroaching into the bingo hole there. I wanted to keep it as unintrusive as possible. That almost worked out right, didn't it? That's kind of weird. Normally that stuff is like, no, not gonna work for me. That's almost too freaky. Like I planned it, and that's not right. Not right at all. Okay, so now I need to fill that in with the rest of the goodie bits. But notice I'm checking too. I want to make sure that people can walk in between those because, if you're going to have someone coming in as the bartender, they need to be able to get inside this little area. So again, once we start putting in the little details, you want to be careful about the collision that might be involved. If you're going to have like some shelvings here and a countertop here, you're going to want to be careful about how big you make it, how wide, what all kinds of details you're putting in, because you don't want to make it where you get your player stuck in there. fact, I probably could move this out further and just push it down so that it's like right up to the edge almost. In fact, I think I will move it at least till it's in the middle. That makes more sense to me. I'm going to bring this up just a little bit so that when I start putting in the end one here, I can have it kind of in the same spot. What we'll do is we'll grab this one, shift, and we'll bring it to the end here. Copy that and bring that over until we get it about to where we think it's about the same. You could use calculations and stuff if you want, but for me it's all about the eyeball. And then do the same for the other one here. Drag it out and then use the lines on the little grid part here to kind of line up what you want. Kind of in the midway point of the. Now if you want, you could check the actual coordinate so you get it just right. It's at 7460. See, I was like off by like 0.0. Not too bad. But again, if you want it exact, you can check it. Biggie. And then just take it down until you can't see it no more. And now we have our little hut thing. I'll go ahead and fill in those last two pieces. Now, a reminder, for the clone tool that's on Katya's add-on here, it will use whatever you happen to have in your inventory already. But once that's used up, it will start purchasing it directly from the vendor. So be careful about that, especially if you're cloning something that costs renown. If you're really not intending to use up your renown, be careful about what you clone and how much. Pay attention to what's going on. For instance, if you know you've bought 2 trees that cost like 25,000 renown, and then you place those 2 trees, and then you copy clone, that third one is going to cost you an additional 25,000 renown. Just be mindful of that. It's a really handy tool and everything, but you want to be careful about purchases. For these little things here, they're like 10, 25 silver. It's not a super big deal. I mean, for a beginner player, it might be. So, even then, you might want to kind of be careful. But definitely, when you're messing around with things that cost renown, you want to be paying attention. You don't want to just blindly go, oh, clone, 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 and then it gives you an error saying you can't buy any more of those. That might be kind of a shock if you're not prepared. Okay, gonna have to try and squeeze this out. I don't have to add an extra. Finagle this in so it's ta-da! Looks all like I meant it to be that way. Okay. So here we're going to install, I think I'll put in 3 little stool things. And it's going to look weird, and a lot of people may not really Yeah, it should. It's just something I noticed because, like I said, when you have like, like right now I have 3 exile floors left. Before I had like 9. And so when I've been cloning them, it's only been pulling it from my crate. But if I kind of lose track of that, it's really easy to kind of forget that, well, I only had 3 in the inventory. Maybe it starts buying it from the shop. So yeah, you want to stay on top of that because you could really get yourself in trouble, especially the renown part. The money, that's, I think, well, for beginner players, it's probably not that easy to build up, but I think that would be easier to come by than the renown, because the renown is, I don't know, it's more precious for me. I'm kind of stingy when it comes to spending it. I try not to if I don't have to. I'm like, do I really want that cool looking tree? Is it just a have to have kind of item? And usually it's not, and I'll just go get something else. Okay, but anyway, we're gonna put some stools in here, and I'm not sure if a lot of people understand what's going on here. Because like I said, this is more like a poolside bar where the not all of the clients will have to like get out of the pool to pie. They just are sitting here in the water and drinking their, I don't know, Mai Tais or whatever the heck it is that they drink. So we're gonna grab some, what is it, a cylinder? Yeah. I see I have 1 in my crate, and I'm going to place that. And we're definitely going to shrink that down a bit. And I'm first going to kind of, well, if I can get myself on there, see about how that feels for a seat. So now if I was sitting on that, I'd be like drowning because it's still under the water level. So I'm probably going to have the water to right about up in here somewhere. Not totally full, but pretty high. So we need to, I'm going to shrink it down. I know it sounds odd to shrink it, but I'm going to shrink it and then I'm going to raise it up by duplicating it. So now anything I clone of this is being bought right off of the vendor for me. So like, well, however much it costs, that will be detracted from my monies. My monies. Okay, now this is probably going to be too high. All right, you take care too, Samson, and thanks for joining in. You'll have to come by when it's all done and have a little party. Okay, that's a little better, but the seat still looks really big. Let's just leave that for now. I think that'll, for a Granok, that might be too high up. Let's see. Gonna didn't like me standing so close. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll oh, let's just go ahead and clone the other parts too. I'm going to put 1 right in the middle. And probably right on the line here. Now, if I was smart, I would have lined up the bottom ones first and then cloned the tops above. But I'm not so smart, so kind of going with it. But if I waited to clone them, then it would be like let's see, let's put these, we'll put them in the crate. Get the bottoms here. See what's going on. But if you wait to clone them from the bottom up, then they are hopefully perfectly centered, which is important. And I think what I'll do is, as you saw, I change the size. If that works. As a little. Again, I'm doing a lot of things where I'm sizing it to orange size, so it may not be suitable for everybody, but yeah, I think that'll work. Should still be pretty good up above the water, because the water line is going to be right about here, so it'll be around chest height for her. This should be okay. Now for this, I'll go ahead and check about the height of this, where it's at. 208, just to get these about the same. Again, I'm cloning, but it's pulling it straight from, there's no money coming out of my pocket for these because I already have them in my inventory, which is handy. There we go. Now we have these little stools. I'm not sure if everybody will recognize what those are, but I know what it is, what it's supposed to be, and that's the main thing, I guess. It's one of those things, that's why when you do a tour of your home, something I missed in a lot of tours that you see videos of, it's usually just set to music, or, you know, just has the music of the plot itself. That's all you hear. You don't hear anything, no commentary from the owner or anything. I missed that though, because sometimes you're like, well, what is that supposed to be, or, you know, whatever. Sometimes they'll have it where they'll have like little blips of information, like this is the kitchen and this is the science lab, and then you kind of think, oh well, that's probably what those people are, you know, that kind of stuff. But that's why I blab a lot when I go on tours or where I'm touring my own properties these days. In the beginning I wasn't as vocal, but I hadn't gotten into streaming yet, so, but I find that interesting when I find a video of someone that's built something and they actually kind of explain what's going on or what that's supposed to be. It's not that it's not recognizable what it is, I mean, but maybe someone will think, well, these are pipes for draining water or something. They would misconstrue what the purpose is. And being able to say, okay, here's a poolside bar where, you know, those that don't want to get out of the pool can just come up and sit while they're still in the water and enjoy, you know, a drink or whatever. But anyway, I think we will go ahead and wrap it up. A lot of my shows have been kind of short lately, but there's going to be a reason that they are in the next week or two, because my husband is on vacation, so I don't want to, I kind of boot him out of the room while I do this, so I don't feel self-conscious about what I'm talking about, because he always says I sound different when I'm talking on here than I do in everyday talking. I don't know by what he means and in what way that I'm different. I don't know if I'm more happy-go-lucky, bubbly, or something or whatever, but so when he's in the room, I get a little self-conscious about what I'm talking about and how I'm saying it and what I'm saying. And so I usually banish him to the downstairs. And I don't want to intrude too much on his vacation time, because, you know, this is his chance to kind of catch up on some of his gaming that he's been missing, because usually he only gets a few hours in the evening, and now it's his chance to really kind of go hog wild with some of his like pet battles and things, because he's more of a WoW fan. But so yeah, we're gonna call it good for there. So again, it feels like we didn't really do much, but we did quite a bit, and you know, we kind of explored some different possibilities with like the lounge chairs. And tomorrow we will probably work a little more on the poolside bar and get that all sorted out before we move on to another part. I don't want to skip around too much on the build. The only thing that's unfortunate is because of its size, depending on where I'm positioned, you can't make out all of the details from a distance. You have to kind of zoom in here to see this, but then you don't see the cushions over there. But then you have to run over here to get to the cushions. So I'll have to do a lot of screenshots when we're all said and done to capture all of the extra little good bits. But yeah, it's coming along. I'm liking how it's progressing so far. A little more grand than I had first envisioned, but I think that was mostly just because I wanted to match it up with the size of this. For someone else, they might prefer something about half that size, which is fine. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed having another sneak peek at me working on stuffs, and I hope that you join us again. Reminder, I won't be streaming on the weekends. I usually don't. There may come a day that I surprise everybody and actually stream on a weekend, but I don't really foresee that anytime soon. So we'll have tomorrow's stream, which like I said, we'll do a little bit more work on the poolside bar, and then we'll get back to work on it the following week, Monday. Just another reminder for those of you that are unaware, Carvine has opened the doors to non-subscribed players to try out, have a look at, have a chance to give some feedback to their free-to-play beta. It is a closed beta, so you do have to sign up for it to get a chance to be, you know, drafted in. But if you're looking for a chance to kind of take a look at up-and-coming features, things that they've changed, there's a lot of things that are getting revamped, and of course we're having a lot of new content brought in. Now's your chance to have a look and see if you'd like to get back into things. There's a link on my Twitch channel page at the bottom in the resources section. There's a link to that. It's mostly their little news article, but it has links to all of the sign-up pages, the fact page, the forum link, so that you can go and give your feedback, not only doing the /bug feature in-game, but you can go actually into the forum and provide comments and feedback, and join in on the conversations, the discussions, because, you know, if there's something that you feel that isn't being worked right, or something that's, you know, needs improvement that hasn't been addressed yet, now's your chance to get that feedback in, so that they can kind of take that into consideration and hopefully, you know, bring us a bigger and better game. As well, for those of you on Javit Realm, If you haven't noticed, in the Jabbit server subforum on the official forums, there is a thread from Geeks of Nexus. They're holding a realm-wide housing competition. So it's open to both Dominion and Exiles. If you're on Jabbit Realm, be sure to check that out. If you have a home that has a unique theme, or you've got a lot of custom built furniture and stuff, now's your chance to kind of show off and maybe even earn yourself a little plat on the side. They've got a number of categories, and you have until September 4th. So, you know, if maybe you've got most of your plot built, but you haven't got it quite finished, you still have time to finish it up. Yeah, I encourage you to enter. You know, what's the worst that can happen? You know, you may not win, but you know, it's not like you're going to be punished for entering or anything. But you do have a chance at earning you some plat, and that'll help you further your house along with some extra goodies. So yeah, be sure and check that out and enter if you can, or if you know somebody, a friend, a guildmate that has a house worth entering, be sure and let them know. Point them in the right direction. I don't have a link to it on my page, but it is, just go to the official forums and then to the Jabbit Realm subforum, and it's pretty much right there on the top, because there's been a lot of people entering, so it's been bumped pretty regularly. Other than that, I think that's it for this day of streaming. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for following. I appreciate the support, and I hope you guys have a great day. And good luck with your projects. Till tomorrow. Bye-bye.